This is DDS. From the DDS studios, I am your host, Blake Melton, along with Matthew Parker, straight from the man cave in an undisclosed location. Parker, how goes it in the man cave?
Hey, man, it's great. Warm, feeling good in the man cave.
Absolutely. Welcome here tonight to DDS Live. We're going to do a little Titans talk. We usually just kind of get on here and screw around, but you know what? Hey, we actually got some news tonight. And we're going to start it right off with Parker. What in the hell is a TDZ?
Hey, listen, guys, Blake, stick with me on this because it sounds like this is going to get in the weeds a bit. Most people haven't even heard of what I'm about to talk about, as you just referenced, but it could directly impact how much Nashville has to spend on a new stadium or on other projects, schools, roads, etc. And I'm not talking about a couple of dollars. We're talking tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. The stadium could be just an argument for how this could happen. There are areas in Tennessee, specifically 8 of them, called tourism development zones, also known as TDZs. Most of the TDZs take taxes earned in that area and give it to something in that area that probably attracted the tourists in the first place. For instance, you stay at a hotel near Graceland in Memphis, Graceland gets some of that tax revenue.
Well, so Graceland, I mean, so are these TDZs, are most of them in Nashville, or is this elsewhere too, or what?
You would think most of them would be in Nashville because just the sheer size of the tourism industry here. But Memphis actually has 3 of them. Nashville does have the biggest. They only got 1 of them. But it is the most impactful. It's to help to pay for the more than $600 million Music City Center, that giant convention center downtown. You see it when you pass it. I'm told from someone in the Metro Council arena, let's call it, that the mayor's office and some in the council are looking to change Nashville's TDZ. Where the funds would help pay for a stadium is not clear. They could go for funds, right? For funds for schools. All that's undetermined as of right now. And it makes sense because Mayor Cooper is on record saying, quote, "The tourism development zone is a mistake," end quote.
Yeah. You said Nashville's was the biggest. I mean, so how big is this TDZ? You mentioned the Music City Center. Is it just around that, or does it include like parts of downtown? What?
That's a good one because I got looking into that, and just it's safe to say if you do something in downtown Nashville, you're in the tourism development zone. You would think with these huge events that pack downtown, the city would see most of the benefits. Cooper tweeted, "That's just not true. According to the mayor, 83% of hotel taxes in the tourism development zone go to the Music City Center and tourism, and 17% go to the city. In addition to that, the director of the Music City Center says $2 of the $2.50 hotel room occupancy tax and $2 contracted vehicle tax and a 1% rental vehicle surcharge tax, all of that goes to one building. That's the Music City Center."
That's a lot of numbers there. So if you add it all up, how much cash is Metro missing out on?
Man, we're not talking about nickels and dimes here. From 2013 to 2019, and you're going to hear me reference to 2019 a lot because with pandemic, numbers got crazy. So I wanted to stay with something here that'd be specific. But from those years, the MCC TDZ collected $122.8 million in taxes.
Woo.
Some of that's state, some of that's local. And that number just continues to rise every year because Nashville's more and more popular. In local taxes, the city could have seen in 2016, $16 million. 2017, $23 million. 2018, $28 million. In 2019, almost $45 million. Also, in 2019, even the state comptroller who looks after government finances told the Tennessean, quote, "The revenue has come in well above what was expected." He even told the Tennessean the contract for what the MCC could spend the money on should have been different.
All right. So you said the money could be redirected to Metro. Um, I'm assuming to help surplus the budget for the stadium, schools or whatever. How are they going to do that?
So, as I've hinted, Mayor Cooper has long been against the current TDZ setup. In a tweet referring to the money, he says, quote, "What happens in the TDZ stays in the TDZ." He has described it again as, quote, "a mistake." And in a mayoral debate in 2019, Cooper said when setting up this structure, it was assumed the MCC wouldn't be successful. But it's on contrary, it's very successful. This is such a hot button issue that the president of the MCC, or actually the board that oversees it, but we're not going to get that complicated, sent a letter to the Metro Council in 2019 outlining how Nashville wouldn't be this busy without the Music City Center. So they're basically responsible for Nashville's growth, at least they're saying they are, and that they earned these taxes. That's not a direct quote, but in a 3-page document, that's basically what he says. But now, one of the reasons it appears Cooper is possibly on board with the stadium idea is because he says, quote, "We won't settle for anything but the best case scenario for Nashville," end quote. I am told that some people in this Metro Council see this as an opportunity to change the current setup and rules of the TDZ for MCC, which in my eyes, Cooper would see as the best case scenario for Nashville. And I can see their argument in my head right now. Right now, the MCC can say, hey, all these bars, these restaurants, these hotels, they're packed because we have 400,000 people in for conferences every year. But with a new enclosed stadium that can attract the world's biggest events year round, I mean, the world's biggest events year round, that argument doesn't hold the same water. This isn't something that I've just been told or is in talks. This is already in the public. In Cooper's mayoral debate in 2019, he said he wanted to revisit this. That's directly from his mouth. You can go look it up. And what better time to try to get a beautiful brand new stadium downtown, put tens of millions of tax dollars back in this city right before election season.
Wow, that's a lot. But what do you think is next? I mean, is this going to be like part of an official proposal?
I don't know. Let me reiterate. I'm not saying this is a done deal. I'm saying the mayor's office could push this, but it's ultimately up to the council. The mayor's office responded to me about TD's location questions because I wanted to make sure the stadium wasn't in it. And they did it pretty promptly. When I sent them another email asking them about what I heard about this proposal happening about changing the TDZs, they've been quiet for 48 hours. The Music City Center told me, quote, "They cannot engage in any conversations regarding potential plans for a new stadium, so it would be inappropriate for us to comment in funding sources," end quote. But what I am saying is people that matter are talking about this. And whether it's to help build a new stadium, whether it's help to go repairs in schools, which Cooper has mentioned before, or fixing the roads, this would put a sizable chunk in the Metro's pocketbook. And this is a real avenue that they are currently looking at.
Wow. This is big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a little into the weeds and it's a lot of numbers moving around, but the footprint of this thing downtown, it's crazy how large it is. And I don't know what they're looking at doing, if they're looking at, making a deal with Music City Center and cutting the stuff in half, or making it smaller, or making another one for the stadium. It's just, there's something being done there. This Cooper's had his eyes on this since before he was a mayor, before he was the mayor, while he was a candidate. He actively tweeted about it. And, maybe the COVID and everything, everybody got busy with other things, got pushed off a little bit, but this is definitely back on, they're talking about it again.
I mean, we're talking about something that will change the face of downtown Nashville too.
Yeah. And, as, Channel 5 reported, which is a great piece of reporting, they talked about how the Adams family, the owners of the Titans, the controlling owners of the Titans, are going to pay will pay the majority of a stadium. What the majority means, who knows? 50%, 70%, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a bold statement right there.
It's big, right? And they're rich, but they're not, that rich. And they're going to need the city to help out a little bit. And the city's going to need some money. And this is why this won't cover all of it. Obviously, we're talking $2 billion-ish stadium. over time, I mean, if you're talking $40 million a year over 10 years, and that's less than what they made in 2019, but conservatively, $40 million over 10 years, it's $400 million.
Jeez.
And the stadium's been there for 23 now. But
Golly, man. Man, that's big news, man.
yeah,
I'm to me, hearing that the Adams family is that committed to potentially making this happen, um, I don't think that they come out and say that if they don't take a chance of putting themselves out there, uh, if it's not something that's a real possibility. What do you think?
I think, and I said this on Twitter last night, I think that this is a done deal. Not on paper, but in everyone's minds. Since
Yeah.
they are willing to pay for it, since Metro's having these talks behind closed doors, since Cooper's tweeting out about it, there's too many things that line up about this. Since the draft was down here and it was the best draft in the history of the NFL, I tweeted out, they had a taste, now they want the whole meal.
Exactly.
We're talking
kind of see these blocks being built, the foundation being laid, you know?
it just, man, we're talking FIFA. We're talking, World Cups. We're talking Olympics. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is the only thing Nashville is missing is an enclosed stadium.
Exactly. That is what has been keeping them out of the discussions for these large events, the Super Bowls, the FIFA stuff, the national championships for college, all these things. Having an indoor state of the art indoor stadium is the only thing that's been holding Nashville back, because Nashville is the draw, right? I mean, we saw it with the draft, just kind of a taste of what that could be like. Let's just put it this way. Could you imagine having an AFC conference championship game and the Super Bowl?
It would be, I was so excited. I don't even want to talk about the AFC conference champion because I'm still bitter. And this isn't us saying it. This is Butch Spirit in the head of the Visitors. The guy that makes all this stuff happen. He says the only thing that keeps the Super Bowl and the NCAA tournaments and these big events from being down here is a enclosed stadium. And now that they are having these talks behind closed doors about how to find this money, I think it's I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when.
Yeah. I mean, look, the money will be there. I think it's just a matter of everybody just kind of checking all the boxes, doing the due diligence. I mean, I know there's been, you had a little bit of a back and forth on Twitter with somebody about, was the draft really a success? I mean, I think without, it was resounding how much of a success it was, but I don't know.
You know what though? Just to go back to our little exclusive stuff here we have here, it was a success to everybody except in the eyes of, and this is out there on Twitter, it's eyes of Mayor Cooper, the guy that's leading this charge that whether we're going to have a stadium or not. Again, he put out there 83% of the taxes that that Briley at the time, the interim mayor, was saying, hey, Nashville made all this money. And he said, it's just not true. 83% of that went to the MCC and Nashville just did not see it.
Yeah, there's that tweet for you. That's a real thing. Man, I'm kind of fired up about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, so can we just talk about nonsense now?
I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's nonsense. Well, it may be nonsense. We're going to have a little fun here with some Titans or rumors or what ifs that are kind of floating around out there on the Twitterverse. We're going to just call it real or fake. We're going to kind of go down a list here. I'm going to call it out. Parker's going to give me his opinion on whether it's a real possibility or if this is just BS and, not really going to happen. So we'll start with number one. I've been hearing Mike Gesicki to the Titans. Is that real or fake, Parker?
Hey, according to a top sports writer in Miami, it is real. This guy's legit. He's plugged in, but it is fake. I'll say that right now. And I'm going to base this off actually of a podcast I listened to the other day. I'll throw it out there to Tic Tac Titan. He does Locked on Titans. He had an excellent point about this. I'd use mine, but his was way better. Titans need somebody that can block. Gesicki's a big wide receiver that pretends to play tight end. Gesicki last year lined up as an actual tight end 7% of the time.
Oh.
And he's probably going to be the most expensive guy. So what are they going to do? Not pay Jonnu to go with Ferkser for a year than to pay the most expensive guy. No, don't happen.
Yeah. And next is it's actually a topic that we found out, I think probably before. I mean, we're not tooting our own horn here. We actually found out about this, I think, before just about everybody else. But we chose not to run with it just because maybe we thought it was a hot take. But Aaron Rodgers to the Titans.
We knew about this days before. Got the text messages to prove it. But no, he's not going anywhere. I am tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. Like, he put out the thing on Instagram, this long post, and then he goes on McAfee, and of course, in his first thing is, he says, "Oh, I'm not going to reveal anything today. Don't try to read anything into it." His last photo he posted was him with not being there in the Chiefs game between Devontae Adams and oh my God, Randall Cobb. Like, dude, you had to go find that freaking photo. Like, you had to sit around and look at it. Let's just say what really happened. Dude had too many scotches, made a stupid post. He's going to be in Green Bay next year. Same thing as last year. Just don't pay attention to it. It's fine.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers always seems to touch a special place in Parker's heart every time we bring it up. All right, let's move on here. Harold Landry will be your franchise in the coming year. Real or fake?
He just might be franchise tagged. He's got, today's what, the 23rd? Titans have until March 8th. They just opened on Tuesday, and they have until March 8th to make these franchise tags or not. And I think they're going to try to hit him with a deal. That's what you need to do. I will say he'll be on the team next year. He'll be franchise tagged if they don't get a deal with him. Like, what are you going to do? Let go the best? You finally get a defensive line together that does something after years of nothing, and you let the best guy go. If he gets franchise tagged, though, it's going to cost Titans between $17 and $20 million a year.
Oof, man, that's expensive, but I mean, we got a lot of shoring up to do. Let's see next here. Talking about a local kid here, Josh Palmer will be a Titan next year. Real or fake?
He better be. I don't want to see Chester Rogers on the field next year. or better yet, they're all too bad, and we have somebody even better than them. Maybe. What was he taking? 3rd round, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
So they love these guys that have been taken in these top 3 rounds. They get time after time again. So I don't know. I think he's got a shot. I'll call it true.
All right. Okay. All right. Now we're going to start getting into some stuff that it might cut some people kind of deep, if you know what I mean. Roger Saffold will be cut. Real or fake?
100% real. He will not be a Titan next year. He's just too expensive. I know he made the Pro Bowl, but his numbers don't show he was that good. Bradley's not joining us. I wish I could give this shot at him. Quisenberry's numbers are actually a little bit better than Saffold's, but he's just too expensive. We can't afford him. He's gone. I don't think there's a chance he's back.
Gotcha. All right, next on the list, Brett Kern will be cut. Real or fake? Say it ain't so. Please say it ain't so.
He makes too much money. He makes over $3 million a year. His average has gone down for the last 6 straight years, I think. Unless he restructures, he's going to be cut. You can just find somebody. I'm going to stay here right now and say he's going to be cut. And it pains my soul to say that.
Oh, my gosh. He was always the guy. I was like, well, at least we got Brett Kern. All those years that we were bad, I was like, yeah, but our punter could kick your punter's ass.
That's right. Hey, get him and Craig Hendricks out there, and we're ready to go.
Golly, man, that was.
I don't ask me that question.
Yeah, I should have skipped that one for sure. All right, next, Jackrabbit Jenkins will be cut. Real or fake?
Real. Gone. We got Fulton out there. You've got a bunch of these new guys. We're going to be a young secondary. You're also going to force him to play Caleb Farley next year in preseason, get him going. Jackrabbit, while he turned it on in the last half of the year, wasn't great in the first half. Again, we kind of had to go for it years. Just he's too expensive. He wasn't bad, but he's just too expensive.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, he made some good plays for us, but I don't know that I'm really gonna miss him. I think we can fill his shoes for sure. Taylor Lewan will be cut. Real or fake?
Fake.
Mm.
Taylor Lewan will be the only way that Taylor Lewan is cut, I believe, is if they just blow the lineup. If they just get rid of Ben Jones, they get rid of Saffold, they get rid of everybody, and they're like, screw it. They're gonna have to gel anyway. Let's let all new people gel. There is a narrative out there that Taylor Lewan is overpaid. I think I've said this on a previous show. He's not overpaid. He's like the 14th or 15th highest paid left tackle in the league. If you get rid of him, you're just going to have to pay somebody else that to come in anyway. And he's a top 10 left tackle. I'm not going to sit here and say he's top 3. He was coming off ACL surgery last year. It's well documented that these ACL surgeries, it's year 2. Year 2 when you're better. If you remember the beginning of last year was dreadful, and he really improved as it went on. So yeah. I think he's back. And he's Nashville's daddy, so he's got to be
here. All right. Let's see. Darrington Evans will be cut. Real or fake?
If they draft somebody, it's real. He just hadn't seen the field. He's been there for 3 years. So I'm going to go straddle the fence on this. If they draft a running back, real. If they don't, it's fake.
All right. And the last one I got here is Deontay Foreman will be cut. There's no way that happens, right? Real.
Well, he won't be re-signed. How about that? He's going to be too expensive. He played himself into a contract. He might be a starting running back for Atlanta next year, unless we're willing to pay a backup $5 million, $4 million. Country came out on me there. $4 or $5 million. I do not think that he'll be back. I don't think there's really that much of a chance unless he just says, hey, this scheme works for me. I'll take this discount for $2 million to stay in Nashville. But why would he do that? He was on the couch. Go get some money, dude.
I hear you. Well, that's all I got for real or fake. What else you got, Parker, before we get out of here?
Man, that's it. We'll try to find some more information on the whole how much money Nashville could save, what this potential deal that they're working on is, if it's going to be a real proposal. There's going to be other things too. So maybe we'll hear more about it. But this TDZ thing is real, and Cooper, I feel like he's had it out for a few years, and maybe rightfully so.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's our first live stream, dude. First live. We're live.
We didn't screw it up too bad.
We're the one take wonders here. Everybody wants to see our beautiful faces. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Go ahead and be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk, as well as on Instagram, DDS Sports Talk. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button on YouTube for us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram for us. Leave us a comment. Tell us how stupid we are for saying some of these things, and tell us what you think about this info that Parker brought up. Kind of interesting stuff. But anyways, as always, two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.